say, working with these guys have been great. I've worked for a couple years here, and this guy, they're a good family. They've been good to me, and I feel good about working here and what we're doing. It's a good
And our final first responder to receive a certificate of recognition. Once again, this certificate is an appreciation for your exemplary service for our Pima County community. We are all grateful for your dedication and the pride and distinction you demonstrate every single day while conducting your job performing duties. Ajo Unified School District will honor you grateful. Ajo Ambulance Company.
Man with this.
You know, you're getting older, you look forward and coach everybody that's. I still say the best valedictorian speech I ever heard with Amanda's when she was in high school. She was fantastic. I just prepared to roll it, something, all right? It won't take you very long. So, Dr. Sotelo mentioned September 11th was, one of the worst tragedies in our country. 2,753 people died in the towers. And it was so terrible, that 40% of the people were never identified. So 40% of the people, they never were able to even have funerals for. And these were just normal people going about their lives, going to work that day. When they left their homes, they never expected anything bad to happen, right? So fire, EMS, and law enforcement agencies from across the city, the county, the state, they all responded there. And they came from departments, small and large. They were volunteer firefighters there. I don't think a lot of people realize that. And they had reports that there were 25,000 people still in the towers. 25,000 people. And these guys, these firefighters, they were the best. They were New York City Fire Department. They had emergency response teams there that would be the equivalent of SEAL Team 6, right? These guys were experienced and trained. And they had chiefs that had been on the job 30, 40 years. They were very experienced chiefs, but nobody had been to anything like the World Trade Center, right? Nobody had been there before. When they got there, they realized quickly that they couldn't extinguish the fire. So now their whole thing was what? Get people out of the towers, right? And that's what they did. So they took the assignments from their chiefs. They're on the bottom floor. They knew what they were getting into. There was no thought of not doing it. Nobody left to go to the bathroom. They took their jobs. They had on 35 plus pounds of equipment, and they started climbing stairs to get up to these victims. And as they went along, they were met by hundreds and thousands of people coming down the stairways. And they assisted those people down. If they had, a lot of them never would have got out of the building. There was a lieutenant by the name of Patty Brown, and he was him and his truck had made it up to the 43rd floor. The South Tower had gone down, and they called them and told them to evacuate, to get out of the building. And Patty Brown radioed down, "We have too many victims here. We're not leaving." And that was the last time anybody heard from him or his truck. So 345 firefighters were killed that day. They included the chief of the department, one of the assistant chiefs of the department, several battalion chiefs, and the chaplain of the department. They were all killed at the towers. So, what is the legacy of this towards for us as first responders and the public? Well, we realize the sacrifice that is made every day by all first responders. Whether you're a volunteer fire department firefighter in Hawaii, Arizona, or you're in New York City, when there's a fire, when there's a police event, when there's an EMS call, you never know. You never know what you're getting into, but we all do it. And you know what? None of us want to be left out of it, right? We want to be there. We want to be in the middle of it. So I just want to bring up real quickly, the other day there was a school shooting in Georgia, and that was stopped. It could have been worse, except for a teacher, who was a math teacher and a defensive football coach, and he confronted the gunman, and he gave up his life. And then the school resource officers were there in less than 90 seconds. Or who knows how many people that kid would have killed. So this service continues all the time. We, in the community, we have the example of Chris Agley, a park ranger that was just a few miles from us when he was killed serving on the border. And so this sacrifice continues. People stepping up to protect the citizens of the community. And so thank you, all you guys, for what you do. We really appreciate you. And thank you, Dr. Sotero, for the recognition.
Thank you, Lonnie, also.
Mr. President, that just about concludes my superintendent report. I would just like to ask if the president and the board and members in the community here in attendance, if we could just engage in a very brief moment of reflection at this time in honor of the victims and all the first responders who lost their lives, but also in honor of all the first responders we have here in this great Ajo community, Hawaii community. So if we could have a moment of reflection for this day. Mr. President, members of the board, thank you. I have to also make sure there is a first responders dinner going on at the same time right now at the Elks Lodge. So I was able to speak to Mr. Evan and Ms. Allen. So our first responders, we would love to have you stay for the rest of the meeting. But I know that you would also love to take part in the first responders dinner at the Elks Lodge. So we'll have a great dinner. Enjoy yourself. Thank you for all that you do. And thank you for being here. Go enjoy your dinner. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the next thing on our agenda is the awards and recognition.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board, we have our first Superintendent Student of the Month awards, and I'm going to call our teachers up here and just give them the certificates, and they will present to their student. We have Ms. Bautista. Here we go, Ms. Bautista. We have Mr. Alvarito. We have Mr. Espineda. And Ms. Fernandez, you guys got it. Take it away.
Thank you. Okay. Good evening, everyone. To start, I am delightful to introduce our sophomore class student of the month. Before I do, I want to highlight her why as a student. So her why is to become an oncologist or pharmacist to help, that which inspired her to excel in her studies. She was selected based on various criteria, including academic performance, character, behavior, effort, social relationship, and attendance. Now, please join me in welcoming our sophomore student of the month, Christina Brown. The mom.
Mom, on, come on.
And then Dr. Sotero wants on the other side. On the other side. So you started. Oh,
Thank you. Good evening, everybody, faculty, students, and guests. It is an honor to present Morgan Olson as our student for the month in junior class. Morgan has shown impressive academic growth, consistently contributing with thoughtful participation and completing her work with discipline. Her commitment to improving is clear in everything that she does. Beyond academics, Morgan's character shines. She embodies responsibility, respect, and kindness, leading by example and uplifting her peers. Her strong work ethics and flawless behavior set a high standard for others to follow. Please join me in congratulating Morgan on this well-deserved recognition.
Turn this way first. And then
Oh, my dad.
your parent first, your parents. The dad and the mom.
and family.
Family. Go, go. Don't be shy.
Yay. Good job.
Good evening, each and everyone. It's been only 6 weeks since I met a student whom I see a resemblance of myself. Not because I was an epitome of an outstanding student like he is, or not even the way he approaches his studies with an unwavering commitment and the thirst for knowledge that was truly inspiring, because it is unlikely for me as a student back then. It is about commuting every day that I can relate, see myself, and testify how challenging it is to be in that situation. But he arrives at school with a smile on his face, ready to tackle any challenge that came his way despite the predicaments of riding the bus for around 40 minutes before reaching school. He demonstrated exceptional focus and determination, setting an example for his classmates with his unyielding work ethic and enthusiasm for learning. If you will be wondering what keeps him going, you will get a well admiration knowing that his motivation has always been the people in front of him, family, friends, teachers, and the like who help, guide, and more importantly, drew him to a moral life, a life where he can seek and follow his biggest why, which is his future. Once again, help me in doing the privilege of recognizing our superintendent student of the month among seniors, none other than Manuel Quiroz Ovalle. Congratulations. Felicidades.
Guys ready? Over here. Smile, Mr. Spinella, where are you? Mr. President, members of the board, we have a special student presentation, I believe, right?
Yes, we do.
Students gonna give a presentation of their testimonial on 9/11, the history of 9/11. Ms. Fernandez, I'll let you present the student.
Okay, I am privileged to announce to you that we have a student to step up to share her own reflection about what happened this very day in the past, 23 years ago. Please help me welcome Miss, what do you think, is it? Yeah. Please help me welcome Miss Christina Braun. Yay!
On this day, 23 years ago, 19 terrorists hijacked 4 planes and crashed into the World Trade Center in the Pentagon. I don't have a personal experience with 9/11, but my parents do. My mom was a young mother of 2 children, my brothers, and she was in the shower at the time of the attack. One of her siblings came and knocked on the door and told her, come out, watch the news, we are at war. My mother wondered what would happen to my father, who had just entered the military. She didn't receive any news about what would happen to him until a day later when he called saying he was fine. My dad, on the other hand, who, as I said before, had just entered the military, was rushed into this conference room with his colleagues, and they were left there for hours. They had no instructions of what to do or what was happening. And honestly, they were forgotten in that conference room. It took him a year to see any footage of what had happened, and it was while he was walking in the hallways of SUU. We remember 9/11 for those who fought and died to save others. It's very important for us to remember this date, for the lives lost and the bravery of others. And that is all.
Yay, thank you, Christina.
That concludes our awards and recognition, Mr. President.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda. I will make the motion to approve it.
I'll second. There we go. Okay.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Passes 5-0.
So first item under personnel is the certified employment of 24-25 teacher Rayleigh Melendez-Bermejo.
Mr. President, members of the board, Rayleigh Melendez-Bermejo, who was a teacher at Office Schools from 2015 to 2021, has been interviewed for a position as a reading intervention teacher. Recommend the employment of Rayleigh Bermejo as a reading intervention teacher for the 24-25 school year.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Passes 5-0. Sir, should we let the parents go if they need to?
You guys are welcome to stay if you want to. We're gonna finish our meeting, but we also understand if you have to go and have dinner, do homework, or do whatever else you want to do. So you're welcome to stay, but we understand if you want to go enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, so next item on the agenda is the certified employment of substitute teacher Aleka Domínguez.
Mr. President, members of the board, Adeleka Dominion has been interviewed for a position as a substitute teacher. Recommend the employment of Adeleka Dominion as a substitute teacher for the 24-25 school year.
Okay, we have a motion.
I will make the motion.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes 5-0.
I'm assuming Eric's not on the phone. If we haven't heard from him.
Okay. Everybody still there?
Okay, I said heard you in the votes. So, next item we have is classified hourly increase for parapro teachers and Candace Moore.
Mr. President, members of the board, per the board approved 24-25 classified hourly salary schedule. Classified employees can increase hourly wages by completing college and professional development hours. On April 19th, Candace Moore gave notice to the HR analyst she intended to complete the final 2 college classes to complete her bachelor's degree. Candace has completed these hours and is eligible for a pay increase starting 9/16/2024. Recommend the approval of the hourly increase to 16:15 to Candace Moore, starting 9/16/2024.
I will make that motion.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes 5-0.
Next item is the certified,
Say aye, I'm pretty much an aye on every vote, but by the time I get on me to say aye, you guys already passed it, but I'm an aye.
okay. I didn't know there was a delay there. So. Okay, our next item is certified classified employment for fall intercession.
Mr. President, members of the board, 8 teachers and 4 paraprofessionals from K-12 will work with students who need additional support in math and ELA during the fall break from October 7th to the 10th for 5 hours per day. The teachers and aides below have expressed an interest in teaching work in fall intercession. Recommend the approval of the above list of teachers and teachers' aides to be employed during the fall 2024 intercession from October 7th to the 10th, 2024.
Okay, we have a motion on
I will make the motion.
it. I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes 5-0.
Next item is volunteer position employment and volunteer football coach for Nicholas Sahari.
Mr. President, members of the board, Nicholas Zahari is interested in volunteer coaching for the boys football team. His volunteer employment has been approved by the co-head coach and athletic director. Recommend the approval of the volunteer employment of Nicholas Zahari as a volunteer coaching position for the fall 2024 season.
Okay, I will make that motion.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes 5-0.
Next item is the appointment of the Title IX coordinator, investigator, and decision maker.
Mr. President, members of the board, per governing board policy, that was an error in how that's stated. It should say ACAAR. Title IX, the district shall designate and authorize an employee as a Title IX coordinator to comply with its responsibilities pertaining to sexual harassment under Title IX. The administration is recommending appointing following individuals: Ms. Quinny Del Aroma, Title IX coordinator; Ms. Donette Corey Williams, Title IX investigator; Mr. Babu Kalcharian, Title IX decision maker. Recommend the approval of the appointment of said employees.
Okay, may I have a motion?
I will make the motion.
I'll second it.
So, do they get any additional pay for this, or is it just something they do?
We're gonna have to figure out compensation, but we'll work that out.
Okay, if there's any more discussion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes 5-0.
Okay, on to business items, the first of which is the approval of the pre-K solicitation letter.
Mr. President, members of the board, in an effort to increase funds for the Allen Pre-K program, a solicitation letter has been drafted by the Pre-K director and approved by the district's attorney. The district's attorney has suggested the letter be approved by the governing board before publication. Recommend the approval of the attached Pre-K solicitation letter is recommended.
I'll make the motion.
I will second.
And then I'll notice too, I'm assuming, probably the same thing you just did, which is that Dr. Chibnall is still listed.
Yeah, I didn't change it, I'm sorry. That'll be changed before it goes out, obviously, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Is there any more discussion?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes 5-0.
Next item of business is the 24-25 Proposition 301 Plan for Performance Pay.
Mr. President, members of the board, a committee made up of teachers representing a variety of grade levels and subjects taught, reviewed and revised the attached Prop 301 plan. 100% of teachers voted to approve the attached plan on Wednesday, August 28th, 2024. Approval of the attached Proposition 301 plan is recommended.
Okay, I will make that motion.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes 5-0.
Next item is the possible new agenda items for the next meeting, and we have one from Trish for the JROTC discussion for that. Does anybody else on the board have something for the October meeting? Okay,
I guess it's from administration. Can we get maybe like a report or something regarding our new reading intervention teacher? So when I asked the other night about, I guess, how we were gonna go about providing that intervention, I'd like to know some details. Are we gonna be a pull-out model? Are we gonna be pushed in? What resources are we using? What student population are we gonna address? Because the DIBELS data showed two different groups of data, and made me feel uneasy seeing that. So we've identified who's most at risk, and I wanna know how those students are going to be given the intervention by that new teacher. And if there's anything this new teacher needs, I would hope it's there day one when she arrives instead of waiting weeks. So I just want, I guess, some sort of report. What's gonna happen when she gets here? What are we gonna do? I want her to hit the ground running on day one instead of waiting weeks. So I want that vision created now and kind of like, what do we see? Okay.
Anybody else on the board have something for the next meeting? And I will make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Meetings adjourned.
6:40.
Now you're supposed to cook dinner. And then run out of food. Yep, they were that in control.
I know his name.